Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Blind, brought to you by Tetra Hearing. Find them online at tetrahearing.com as we wrap up our trip here in Saskatchewan, our first time back since fall of 2019. And today was a lot of fun. Yesterday was a lot of fun. We're going to dive into all of that here in just a moment. Also, coming up in just a moment, we're going to talk about this awesome flocked decoy, full body decoy from Tingle Free. That we're giving away in addition to a blind bag and a gun case. So stay tuned for that. So before we get into today and the giveaway, let's talk about what happened yesterday. We didn't bring you an episode yesterday. We just had a lot going on. We were doing some late night scouting, and so it really didn't work out to do a podcast last night. But yesterday morning was not the best that it could be, but I think we can all agree it was a successful day.
It was a very fun hunt.
Yeah.
Very fun hunt. We shot into a couple decent groups, one really good group, and then it was just fun picking off singles
geese,
and pairs.
by the way.
And yes, snow geese. We finally had good wind, which is, of course, what you really want when you're especially snow goose hunting. But yeah, it was a fun day.
However, it could have been better if, once again, the majority of the birds didn't go to within a half mile and feed in another field that we didn't anticipate.
Yeah, they just bumped over to, what was that, a pea field?
Yeah.
Had some volunteers, had a lot of green regrowth in it. But yeah, they bumped over to that. And I guess the good thing was we were able to pick them when they're trading back and forth to water and moving around to a couple different feeds. We were able to pull some singles, pairs, pulled a couple of big groups in early on. And yeah, good hunt. Good Saskatchewan snow goose hunt.
What was our total number? Do you remember, Fix?
Was it 45?
I think we did better than that, wasn't it?
We
55.
Well, yeah, 'cause
55.
55
Yeah.
snows and 10 ducks and 2 Canadas.
Well, I was way off.
Yeah.
No, that's all right. That's okay. It was a great day. We didn't get a limit, but it was, we probably could have gotten closer to a limit again, as we always say, if it wasn't for cameras and other, circumstances. But a great day. It's been, fair to say, a little bit more of a struggle this year than it has in probably the last 10 years we've been coming up here.
Yeah. I feel like the bird numbers aren't quite what we typically expect them to be. And then also increased pressure, and not only just increased pressure as far as there's more people we've seen out scouting and hunting and doing those things. But when you have less birds, as Logan put it earlier, it hunts a lot smaller. So when you don't have a big number of birds, you don't have, 10 feeds this direction and 20 feeds this direction. It spreads those guys out. Now you're congregating a bunch of smaller feeds with a lot more people, and it just makes it a lot more difficult. But I mean, even with that, right, we still had a great week. We still shot a lot of birds. It's just not typically what things are, just different than what they typically have been in years past.
Right. Before we get on to today's hunt, one of the things that I noticed this year that I hadn't noticed in years past is, maybe a couple times in the 10 years we've been coming up here, you see in a barley or wheat field, it's hard for me to distinguish between the two, but there's more of that overseed or volunteer growth that you see. And I'm guessing, I'd love to get your guys' opinion on it, but it's my opinion that because of the warmer temperatures that we have had, they seem to be hitting those fields that have a lot of that volunteer green in there.
Yep. Yeah, I would say that's due to the warmer temps, or maybe just the best of both worlds, right? They're getting the grain and the green. But yeah, there's all in all, there's a lot of birds around. They're just not really, they're really spread out. They're not congregated. The feeds are like right on the fine line of like, is it worthwhile hunting this feed or not? And there's 3 of those within, a mile and a half, 2 miles area, but they just need to get together, to be able to make, one more hunt. And the big feeds are getting picked over pretty quick by all the people that are in town, and, hunting. Same with the ducks too. The big groups of ducks, typically it's, somebody's already found it before you, or, been driving around for the whole week prior to you getting there, whatever the case may be. But, it's still Canada, it's still fun. Yesterday's hunt was awesome. You can't ask for anything better. We were exactly where we set up exactly where we wanted to set up. Birds did exactly what we figured they would do. And, we shot 55.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good day.
That's a good day.
The wind was blowing. We had nothing to complain about.
No.
We always complain about the wind.
Yeah. We can always find something.
We can always, exactly. I was going to say that we could always find something to complain about. So we wrapped up a great morning and we thought, wow, we've got some options of what we can do the next day. So let's go back to that same field where we duck hunted yesterday or the day before. I guess that was the day before yesterday, right? Got my days all mixed up here. Because we'd seen the day that we shot those 9 ducks in the afternoon, we saw the majority of the ducks go to the south end of that field. And so, well, hey, let's go there and try to shoot the ducks in the afternoon. And the ducks there was a few lingering around, but they weren't around. There's something that they moved on or something weird happened. And so we're like, okay, look, we need to pack up this stuff and we need to just go check our options, the 3 options or so that we had. And as it turned out, those options were no longer good. So thank goodness we got out of there early to go check those fields that we thought were going to be a slam dunk for us the next morning, because we ended up changing it up completely. And you guys, Logan, Fix, and Alex, ended up finding, which it's going to be fun for you to see the video because I haven't seen the audio from the video yet. But we're literally set up for ducks and honkers right off the highway, which is something we typically try to avoid doing. But the feed was just too good to not try to get in there and try to do it on our last day.
Yeah. It was like somebody flipped a light switch yesterday afternoon. And even when scouting, there wasn't that many birds flying, and all the places that we were like, oh, these will be great. We'll pick one of these, whichever one looks the best. We'll be able to hunt it this morning, and nothing. You went and looked at a pen.
Mm-hmm.
It
Two
was,
different pens.
It was dang near empty. We looked at another pen that we had dropped that up a bunch of snow geese and a ton of ducks in it. It was dang near empty. And so, it's just one of those things I think works out how it's supposed to work out, because had we not decided to do that, we just happen to turn a corner and go, whoa, look at all those ducks going in that field. And we already knew who that farmer was. We've hunted on that person before. And, when we were looking at it, obviously we're like, well, the way that where these birds are, the majority of these birds are, and especially, luckily we had a southeast wind, because a north wind, we wouldn't have been able to hunt. And now granted, maybe they would have been somewhere else in the field with the north wind, but, it was, we came back and talked about it forever because it just felt weird to be that close to the highway, and not a road, not a gravel road, not a highway, a very busy road.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to hunt where the birds are and what they're going to do.
And not only came back and talked about it, excuse me. We went back and forth and did circles around that place trying to figure out a different option. And
a different option to hide?
Yeah, different hide. And every time we came back, we just kept looking at that location we ended up at. Right by the highway, which is an unusual spot. But
and that's where they were. And that's where they were the night before, right? They were feeding right up against the...
Yeah. And it was a great fence line hide for the A-frames. I mean, it worked out great.
It did.
Well, that's the thing with the ducks, though, comparable, in my opinion, to Canada's or Snows or whatever, cranes, whatever the case may be. With the ducks, you really have to be where they want to be.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be in that spot. And where were they? They were literally 5 feet off the field line, right up against the highway. And there wasn't another duck in the back 3/4 of the field. So yeah, we looked at different places to hide, but it just didn't make sense. There was nothing that made sense at all. And on top of it, if it did make sense, we were ways away from the birds. But yeah, on top of anything, in my opinion, if you have to be right on the X, field mallards, I would think, would be number one.
That's a good point.
So we did what it feels uncomfortable. We're not doing anything wrong. You can legally hunt one step off of the road, but
we were several steps off.
Yeah,
of the
it
road.
just seems very weird when, everybody driving by can see 1,000% what you're doing, and
got a couple honks, lots of waves.
Yeah, I mean, semi truck after semi truck honking their
Hitting
horns at us.
Working mallards as the Jake breaks going by. It just was.
I mean, we had like 4 or 5 people, like other hunters, wave at us and honk at us.
Yep.
It was like we had like
It'll
a
be-
car wash going on or
It will
something.
be one that we will always talk about it because we have those. It's like the best hunt or the snowy mallards or the blizzard before Christmas, and now we're just gonna laugh and be like, remember that one time we shot all those mallards right by the highway?
The highway hunt.
You'll always know it.
Yeah, for
You'll
sure.
always know it.
Ronnie was hanging out there in his bikini with his car wash sign.
That's right. What we haven't talked about was how successful the actual hunt was, right? And so we ended up just over a 4-man limit. We have 6 guys who are on this trip with us, and 2 of the guys are filming. And so if we ever get into a situation where we can meet a 4-man limit early, then we try to switch out so that the camera guys can get a little bit of trigger action as well. And so Q was able to do that. Q's back behind the scenes right now running the podcast. And so he got to get in there and shoot a couple ducks. So I think, what was it, 9 honkers that we shot? And
10.
And then
10, 35 ducks and 10 honkers.
right.
Yep.
So great day. Absolutely great day. Good wind, sunshine. They read the script. The decoys were set great. And so it was really, considering all of the struggle, it was a great way to end this trip here in Saskatchewan, I thought.
Yep. Very fun. Very fun. Very relaxed. Like we went into it kind of, some of those hunts you get and you're a little stressed out about it, and you're you kind of have that pressure. You want to make things work, and you, especially on the snow geese hunts, like sometimes you got to completely restubble blinds and throw out 50 dozen decoys and do this. And we got up and we went, we were laughing, and it's an easy spread to throw. We were in all 8 dozen of the tangle free full bodies, 4 mojos, and I don't know how many dozen the tangle free.
The skinnies,
6 dozen.
Yeah.
6 dozen full bodies and a couple dozen of the skinnies. And that's it with the A-frames there. And we had 40 minutes or so just to stand around this morning and eat some breakfast and swap stories and BS with each other. And that to me really is when you can go into those hunts and you're just having fun and it's low key. And, we knew we were going to have a good hunt, and it was just fun. It's just fun.
It was. So before we move on to what's next for Heartland Waterfowl, and of course talk about the giveaway, the Tangle Free giveaway, which, by the way, again, thanks to Corey and the team over at Tangle Free Waterfowl for partnering with us for this giveaway. I guess I'd kind of go to Fix real quick. We've talked to you a little bit about this being your first trip to Saskatchewan. Now that we were actually just talking about this off camera a moment ago, that you had a ball and it kind of maybe exceeded your expectations. And even that, like, we were still, I guess, half as successful. I mean, we shot if we're just looking at pure numbers, we shot half as many birds as we would typically do over the course of a 5-day hunt.
Yeah. So it absolutely exceeded my expectations. I had high hopes and it went above that.
Good.
In those 5 days, in the amount of birds we saw and shot, and it was amazing. What made it really good though is the people, right?
Right.
So that's what really makes a hunt. So coming out here with you guys and being with a fun group and being in Canada and seeing those bird numbers, it's pretty impressive.
We got we had fun scouting and stuff too, because you just you get to see moose and mule deer and all sorts of gorgeous scenery, right?
Yeah.
Canada's beautiful. We just had a really fun week.
So what would you say, we'll go down the line, but what would you say was your most memorable hunt of the 5 hunts? Well, I guess we had more than 5 hunts, but the 5 days of hunting.
It's going to be almost a tie, because we talked about that last snow hunt we did, yesterday, I guess it was yesterday morning. So what was great about yesterday morning was we shot less birds, but there was one big group. Man, watching them come in and just getting after them, that was amazing.
So besides, and then the second?
Well, and then I'm going to go to that first morning hunt.
Mm-hmm.
That was impressive. It was just hot and heavy. It was just hot and heavy, and
and you got to hunt a pea field.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. And I've never hunted a pea field. So, there's a lot of firsts on this trip.
What about you, Alex?
I really like shooting those ducks today. That was super fun, but definitely, I think my favorite hunt of the week was the pea field.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
We come up here to mainly target snows. And that was just like the perfect Canada snow goose hunt, right?
Right.
Like it was a lot of fun.
Logan?
Yeah, the pea field hunt. I mean, why else would you pick anything else?
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
That's what you come up here for. But I mean, they were all good. I mean, yesterday you can't complain about. Today. I mean, none of them. You can really. I mean, even the afternoon, right? We didn't. It didn't go our way, but the 9 ducks that decoyed
awesome.
all the way
So
to the
good.
ground, pretty much. So, and we shot 9. We went 9 for 9.
Yep.
So like what. It's so hard to pick out. You're up here in Canada, you get a hunt. Obviously, the one that sticks out is the pea field, right? That was
actually
our
the
most
second
birds.
morning, I think.
It was fast and furious at times. But I mean, then you can go switch it up like today, right? Shot a lot of mallards today. That was fun.
Yeah.
I haven't shot mallards since last season.
Right.
So it's hard to obviously pick 1 or 2 out, but I mean, yeah, if you want to go with the obvious, what stands out, yeah, the pea field's the one that you're going to remember. If you ask in 10 years what hunt you're going to remember from this year we were up here, it's going to be the pea field.
Right.
Or, hey, we were the guy off the highway that everyone was waving at.
I can tell you which one was Ronnie's favorite.
Yeah, that first morning where we shot 15 snows was probably the favorite day of hunting I had. No, I'm joking. I mean, the pea field, obviously, but we joke about it all the time, but I'm serious. Like, ducks is my favorite, and watching those ducks eat it, and then getting the bonus with the honkers, because that group of honkers also 2 groups of honkers, just the way they did it, that was sick too.
That was good.
And they were lessers too, right? And sometimes those are really, really tough to break down, and they just ate it up. And so real excited for you guys to see the video of that. What's on deck now for Heartland Waterfowl is we've got basically
2 weeks,
2.5 weeks, 2 weeks off before we head back to North Dakota, and likely in the first week in November. We're hoping that it'll be really frigid, and because that's when we like to hit it, and
colder the better.
That's the next plan of action. Who's all going on that trip?
Oh man, I don't know the answer to that.
You don't know?
I can tell you who's not.
I can just hope. We know that Alex will be deer hunting during that time.
Let me just. Can I make a?
Here we go.
Let me make a side.
Let me make a side note. I like wearing orange over camo.
Let me make a side note here, because you will agree with me, because you've almost told me to not come back to North Dakota because
you're definitely not allowed.
You guys we're shooting ducks great. So
that was also your easy excuse of getting out to go into North
hunt
Dakota.
Right.
Years ago, I said, okay, this North Dakota looks fun. I'll go up. And that was the year that we spent 13 days hunting. And it was record high temperatures every day. And in 13 days of hunting, we shot 31 birds in 13 days. So I said, I don't think I'm going to go the next year. And then the next year, that's when you shot your tarsal. It was super cold. You guys pounded the mallards. And I was like, well, hell, now I got to go back. I'm ready to shoot some ducks. Then the next year when I went back, it was you and me had to leave a little early.
Right.
So for the first 3 days of the hunt, I think we shot like 1 goose and like 2 mallards. We had to scout all day one day. It was terrible. And as soon as we left, as soon as I crossed the border out of North Dakota,
they're smashing.
A cold front came in, and they had some of the best duck hunting that we've probably ever filmed. So you're welcome for not going, because apparently when I go, it's awful. So me and North Dakota just agreed.
I'm going to say the same thing for that deer he's chasing, baby giant. You're welcome for shooting your deer. You're out of town.
So when we come back with more new original content in this 2023-2024 season, the next trip will be North Dakota, first week in November. So make sure you subscribe to this Heartland Waterfowl YouTube channel, and then hit the notifications bell so that you are notified when new content drops. So as we wrap this up, once again, thanks again to Tingle Free for offering a box, which is a half dozen of their flocked Flight Series full body mallard decoy. This is it right here. And the more and more we use it, the more and more we're in love with it. That's what it looks like on the bottom. This is, again, it comes with stakes and bases. I believe this stake is, I can't remember now the length on this, but it comes with, but this is what we were talking about in the last pod, their motion system. The cool thing about this, if I can try to show it, is that when you're pulling them out of the ground, with how they got that looped right there, you literally can get your fingers right there Just pull them out of the ground, and they're a durable flex fiberglass stake. So we're giving those away in addition to a awesome tingle-free blind bag and a tingle-free floating gun case, all in the Taifa First Light camo. We are going to draw for that winner as we're driving home. So make sure that you're following on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. We will put we'll put something out there that announces the winner for that. So be looking for that. Anything else before we wrap this up? Anything else?
So
I don't
Cool.
have anything
Had a
else.
great week with you guys, man.
I did too. I did too.
Fix, I really enjoyed you being here, man. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me. It's been a blast.
Champlin is officially out.
Thank you,
He's
Champlin.
out.
Thank
No,
you
I'm
so
joking.
much.
Eric's out. Eric's in.
For Eric Fix, Alex Diecidue, Logan Burditt, I'm Ronnie Philips. Thank you guys for following us this season with Behind the Blind and our Heartland Waterfowl YouTube channel. We'll see you next time in North Dakota.
Bye.
Over and out.